Hello everyone, Megan here for another adventure in beautiful Switzerland. Are you ready to go for a snowshoe hike in the Swiss Alps? This snowshoe hike takes place between Oberalppass and Andermatt in the heart of Switzerland. In this map of Switzerland, you can see both Zurich and Bern. Andermatt is about equal distance from both. Located in the center of the Swiss Alps, you can reach Andermatt by car or train any time of year. It sits at the crossroads of Switzerland. Underneath is the world's longest tunnel, 1,000 meters below Andermatt, and that connects Northern Europe and Italy. The slowest express train line, called the Glacier Express, runs east and west through Andermatt, connecting the cantons of Graubünden and Uri. Like most journeys in the Swiss Alps, it starts on a train. The trains that go over the pass are a bit older and narrower than the normal trains. In order for the trains to make it up and over the high mountain passes, they need to be a rack railway, which is sometimes also called a rack and pinion, cog, or cogwheel railway. You'll see some of those racks later on in the video. There are quite a mix of people boarding the train. We have sightseers, people who are sledding, a few snowshoers like us, and a bunch of skiers. Even the littlest kids are totally geared out for skiing. These two little girls were so adorable. The older one is pointing to the map on the table, showing her little sister where they are going. And off we go! The train winds up the side of the mountain, kind of in and out of tunnels. And every once in a while, you'll get a great view of the valley below, just like this one. No matter how cloudy it is in the valley, always remember to bring your sunglasses to the mountains. Look at how bright the sun is against the snow. Once we reach the Oberalppass, we will essentially walk back exactly the way we came, right along the Matterhorn-Gotthard rail line. In the summer, there is a marked trail, but let's see what we get in the wintertime. As we hop off the train and gear up over here, most of the people have gone the other way. It looks like we're quite alone here, but we are the only ones walking back the other way. We need to walk back on the trail, on the rail line for a little bit to kind of find some place where we can hop off onto the side. Obviously, we don't want to walk along the train the entire way. Here we were lucky. We discovered a ski path that somebody had done some touring skiing. Our first selfie of the day. So typically Jorn takes the lead. So you can see here I am in the lead, but he quickly overtakes me and then stops to fix his gear, and then gets started again and stops again to fix his gear again. So it's a little bit of a go and start at the beginning when we first get going. But that's normal. You'll notice here that we are in the sun, which is quite nice and wonderful. This is February, but pretty soon we get into the shadow of the mountain, and this can get quite cold. So you'll need to be prepared for both situations. In these next two pictures, you're going to notice up in the right-hand corner a lot of fencing that is meant as an avalanche protection area so that so the avalanches don't come down onto the train. You can see it on the map. That whole northern face of this valley had this kind of basically avalanche danger there. We were careful though. We did pay attention to where we were walking, and everything was fine. There are so many different types of snow. So when you're snowshoeing, how deep and how much effort that you put into it depends on the kind of snow that you're walking through. The kind of snow that we're walking through is kind of dried. It's not wet snow. It is deep, very, very deep, but it's quite cold up there. So here you can see how deep Jorn's snowshoes are going into into the snow, and I follow in his track. Now, sometimes when you're going through some really deep, fluffy snow, you need to switch back and forth who's leading, just because it takes a lot more effort to go through big, fluffy snow and make a trail. Here, it's kind of flat. Well, no, it's very flat. This was a very easy snowshoe hike. Actually, we will bring people here the next time we want to take someone snowshoeing, simply because it was quite easy and not dangerous at all. Now, you might be wondering why we are not walking side by side. That's just our jam. There are times when we walk side by side. We call these couple-friendly trails, and we really like that. We hold hands. But in this case, you know, it was really nice just to be a little bit by ourselves, but still together. And you'll see throughout the course of the video that we do meet up and stop and meet up and stop. So we are hiking together, if you will, but we don't typically, we each kind of have our own zen moments when we're doing snowshoe hiking. This particular one, because we could see each other quite a distance away, that's why we didn't really mind being so far apart. On our snowshoe the previous weekend, we were quite close together actually the whole time. I think it really depends on where we're hiking. As you can see there, when you are hiking in the cold weather like this, you might need to make sure you have an extra battery. That's what I was doing there for a moment, adding my extra battery. Here we are trying to get on the other side of the train tracks. Now that sounds easily done, but there's about this wall of snow is coming up to my head. You can see here in just a moment that I'm looking at Jorn's snowshoes. So he graciously made some steps there for me and is now helping me up the steps to get on the other side. We didn't have to rush at all. We already had just seen the train go by, and so we knew we had at least 15-20 minutes before the next train. So now we are definitely on the sunny side of the track, which is where we wanted to be, and actually we're walking on where the road is in the summertime. So you can see sometimes these brightly colored sticks poking out of the ground, and that actually marks where the edge of the road is. This is our first time hiking in the winter or the summer in this area. We've been over the pass in the train a couple times. You can see here now coming up is my obligatory kiss in the mountains. So we do keep connected. When we were planning this hike, we wanted to make sure that we stayed along the train track line just so that we were secure in where we were going. Here you can see the train and the mountain where we are kind of in relation to the map. We did this because of safety. We weren't too familiar with the area. As I mentioned before, we hadn't hiked here at all. So when we planned the hike, we wanted to be very, very careful that we wouldn't stray too far from the train tracks. We saw on the other side of the train tracks that there was another snowshoeing group that went through on the other side. And the other side actually had a stream or a river going through it. And that makes me nervous a lot of times because with this much snow up here, you don't really know what's underneath the snow, and you could fall through into the water below, and that is not something that you want to do. Somewhere halfway along the way where there was somewhere nice and sunny and we were getting a little nibbly, Jorn stopped for a moment and we were able to get out our hot tea and have a few dried fruits before we kept moving because our goal was to have lunch in a real restaurant. Here you can see a car train. So because the road we're hiking on obviously is closed and cars still need to go over the pass, you need to reserve a place. You park your car on the train, you sit into the front compartment of the train, and you get taken over the pass on one of these train cars. Cool, huh? So you can see here we're still following this ski path, and here's a really good shot of where all of those sticks are that are poking up along where we're hiking. This village here, I just wanted to show you, this is amazing. You can barely see the tops of the houses, and on the map this is where we are. And so there's a little village up there that obviously you can't live in during the wintertime. And here's another angle of that village. And that's where that stream is going along the whole way. Shortly after this picture here, we rounded the corner and we're back in civilization. We found a very nice little restaurant, had our great beers, actually these are panaches, and some warm food. We sat in the sun again. Obviously we were a little pink from the sun that we had. We ended up taking the train back down to Andermatt because the hike wasn't as nice as one we just did. If you enjoyed this kind of video and would like to see more of these, please like and subscribe to the channel so I know that you're watching. And if you'd like to learn more about hikes and things to do in Switzerland, check out my website. There is a link in the description box, as well as some links to other interesting facts about this area of Andermatt. Have a good one.